بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وآله الطيبين الطاهرين اللهم أخرجني من ظلمات الوهم وأكرمني بنور الفهم اللهم افتح علينا أبواب رحمتك وانشر علينا خزائن علومك برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. Alhamdulillah, we have tawfiq to continue our study of 40 hadiths. And as you remember, we were talking about freeing ourselves for ibadah and about presence of heart in ibadah, especially prayer. After mentioning hadith about the fact that whoever does istighfaf, means underestimates salat, would not receive shafa'ah, intercession. Imam Khomeini says we must know that to be deprived from shafa'ah is very, very great loss. And you should not think that without shafa'ah you can reach heaven. We all need shafa'ah of the Prophet and Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam. Now you can judge yourself. Is there anything more important than saying your salat properly and then receiving shafa'ah, or giving priority to other things, underestimating your salat, and then losing shafa'ah? You can yourself judge. And then he says, more important than freeing your time is to free your heart. Actually, freeing time is a prerequisite for freeing heart, but it's not the same thing. The main thing is freeing heart, because sometimes you free time for salat, but your mind is so busy and so divided that you don't have that presence of heart in your salat. And he says, unfortunately, what happens sometimes is that as soon as we say takbiratul ihram, is as if we have opened our shop. Suppose someone has a shop or office, as if you open the shop and now we are seeing what items we have there. We look at our book of account and all these things. And when we say Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, we realize that we have finished salat. So from beginning to the end, we were not aware that we are saying salat. Sometimes I say it's like autopilot. We say Allahu Akbar, autopilot. Then when we reach Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, again we take control and we are mindful of what we do. This is very wrong, and it is possible that with training and making used to controlling your mind, inshallah you will have good presence of heart. And he says one of the things that we need to keep remembering is the importance of ibadah. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala invites us to be present before him and talk to him, this is a great blessing. You must have heard, the very first person that we know who did Jashn Taklif, feast of ibadah, feast of obligation. Alhamdulillah, we have now in these recent years this habit of celebrating when girls become mature and also when boys become mature. The very first person that we know who did this was Sayyid ibn Tawus rahmatullah alayhi, one of our great scholars that is generally believed that he was able to be connected to Imam Mahdi Ajalallah Ta'ala Farajahu Sharif. Sayyid ibn Tawus was a great person like Bahrul Ulum, Allamiyya Bahrul Ulum. Sayyid ibn Tawus used to celebrate every year the day that he became mature. He completed 15 years of his age, then every year he celebrated that. Because this is even more important than your birthday. This is the day that you are addressed by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He says, if you want to follow greater examples, okay, you can go to the lives of the Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam. How were they feeling at the time of Salat? For example, Amirul Mu'minin alayhi salam, when was saying his prayer, people knew that he is totally immersed in his prayer. Therefore, when they wanted to remove a piece or a broken arrow from his foot or leg, they said we should do it when he is in prayer, knowing that that's the time that he would not pay attention. Or for example, we have about Imam Zainul Abidin alayhi salam, that when he was in the condition of prayer, if for example his abba, his cloak was, one side is falling and dropping, he was not fixing it. And someone asked Imam alayhi salam, what was the reason? Imam said, do you know before whom I was standing? When I am standing before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, I don't then think about my Abba. He was so immersed by presence before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And Imam Khomeini says this is possible because even when we are sometimes very busy with something, we don't pay attention to anything else. He says one of my friends said that once in the city of Isfahan, we had a fight with some vicious people who were annoying people, and they had some knives, and when I was fighting with them, they put these knives into my body, but I was so much preoccupied with this fight that I did not feel anything. After the fight was over, then the pain of these injuries started to appear, and for some days I was in bed. But when I was fighting them, I did not feel anything. Sometimes, when you are very busy with something, you don't feel hungry, you don't feel thirsty. So it's quite possible that when your attention is fixed somewhere, you don't pay attention to other things. So he says, با قدری مواظبت و مراقبت, with some care and self-monitoring, you can make a habit of presence of heart. You should have the bird of your imagination under your control. Otherwise, this bird will go from one branch of the tree to another branch of the tree and keep you busy. And then he talks about presence of heart, which is very, very important, and mentions some hadiths. The first hadith is from Kafi. Sheikh Kulayni rahmatullah alayh through his chain of narrations, quotes from both Imam Baqir and Imam Sadiq alayhim as-salam. أنهما قال, both these great Imams said, إنما لك من صلاتك ما أقبلت عليه منها. From your salat, you would only have that much of salat that you have done iqbal. Iqbal means welcoming, means that much that with your heart you welcomed salat. With your heart you went for salat. فإن أوهمها كلها أو غفل عن آدابها لفت فضرب بها وجه صاحبها. If the person who says salat makes mistake for the whole salat, or ignores manners of salat, this salat will be wrapped and will be thrown at his face. This salat is not going to take him to heaven. This is not going to be mi'raj. In another hadith, Sheikh Tusi in Tahzib quotes from Abu Hamza al-Shomali, the one that I mentioned just now from Imam Zainul Abidin. He says, Abu Hamza al-Shomali says, رَأَيْتُ عَلِيَّ ibn al-Husayn alayhim as-salam yusalli. I saw Imam Zainul Abidin alayhi salam saying prayer, فَسَقَطَ رِدَاؤُهُ عَنْ مَنْكَبِهِ. His rida dropped like this from his shoulder. فَلَمْ يُسَوِّهِ. Imam didn't fix his rida. حَتَّى فَرَغَ مِنْ صَلَاةٍ, till his salat was finished. Abu Hamza Somali says, فَسَأَلْتُهُ عَنْ ذَلِكَ. I asked Imam alayhi salam about the reason why he didn't fix his cloak. فَقَالَ وَيْحَكَ أَتَدْرِي بَيْنَ يَدَيْ مَنْ كُنْتَ. Wow, do you... It's a nice way of expressing your surprise. Do you know I was before whom? إِنَّ الْعَبْدِ لَا يُقْبَلُ مِنْهُ صَلَاةٌ إِلَّا مَا أَقْبَلَ مِنْهَا. The prayer of servant of Allah would not be accepted except that much that he has iqbal, means he goes with his heart. Abu Hamza Somali then says, if that is the case, we are finished, we are destroyed. جُعِلْتُ فِدَاكَ halakna. May I be your ransom. We are finished, because we don't have that presence of heart in our salat. Then Imam alayhi salam said, Kalla, inna Allaha mutammimun dhalika lil mu'mineen bin nawafil. There is a solution. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would supplement and complete the problems in fara'is with nawafil for mu'mineen. So if a mu'min has shortcomings in his wajib or her wajib salat and does nawafil, then that can compensate. But if doesn't do nawafil and then in wajib salat there is no presence of heart, that would not be accepted. Then Sheikh Saduq rahmatullah alayhi in Al-Khisal from Amirul Mu'mineen alayhi salam quotes, لا يقومن أحدكم في الصلاة متكاسلا ولا ناعسا. None of you should stand up for salat while he is bored or sleepy. ولا يفكرن في نفسه, and should not think about himself, should not be engaged in internal thinking. فإنه بين يدي ربه عز وجل, because he is standing before his Lord. So don't think about yourself. وإنما للعبد من صلاته ما أقبل عليه منها بقلبه. For the servant of Allah from his salat, only that much that he has iqbal with his heart would be considered. So this means that the key, the soul, the life of salat is presence of heart. Then there is a hadith from Sheikh Saduq, from Abdullah ibn Abi Ya'fur. He says that قال Abu Abdullah alayhi salam. Abdullah ibn Abi Ya'fur says that Imam Sadiq alayhi salam said, Ya Abdullah, إذا صليت فصل صلاة مودع يخاف ألا يعود إليها أبدا. This is a very good instruction which is helpful for appreciating our salat. Imam Sadiq said, O servant of God, when you say your prayer, say it as if this is your last chance of saying prayer, and you are worried that you may not pray again. If this is going to be your last salat in your life, who knows, you are going to have another opportunity to say salat. This might be your last salat. So do it carefully. ثم اصرف ببصرك إلى موضع سجودك. And then when you start your salat, fix your eyes to the place of your sajda prostration. فلو تعلم من عن يمينك وشمالك لأحسنت صلاتك. If you knew those who are on your right side and left side, you would make your salat proper. Perhaps it means that there are angels, that you should observe them. There is possibility that if you were thinking people are watching you, you will be more careful. But maybe it means also that there are angels who are there and you should consider their presence. وَاعْلَمْ أَنَّكَ بَيْنَ يَدَيْ مَنْ يَرَاكَ وَلَا تَرَى. And be aware that you are before someone who sees you, but you cannot see him. Allah is watching you, but you cannot watch him. Because you cannot watch him should not make you relaxed. The main thing that he's watching you, so you have to be very careful. If I don't see police and police is seeing me, I wouldn't relax. Or if, for example, my doctor has given me prescription and I don't listen, and he's seeing me, I don't see him, I shouldn't be relaxed. So when you are saying your salat, consider these few things. First, this might be my last chance of salat. Second, fix your eye to the place of sajda and try to remember that Allah is watching you. In another hadith, Imam Sadiq alayhi salam is quoted as saying, لا أحب للرجل المؤمن منكم إذا قام في صلاة فريضة أن يقبل بقلبه إلى الله. I love for any person among you, any mu'min, that when he stands up for fariza, he would or she would welcome with his or her heart to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Means goes with heart to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَلَا يَشْغَلْ قَلْبَهُ بَأَمْرِ الدُّنْيَا. And do not let his or her heart be preoccupied with a worldly affair. فَلَيْسَ مِنْ عَبْدٍ. Very important sentence here, and Imam Khomeini says this is beautiful. This is the desire of awliyaullah. Please listen very carefully to this sentence. ليس من عبد يقبل بقلبه في صلاته إلى الله تعالى. There is no servant of Allah that in his prayer goes with heart, he goes towards Allah with his heart, إلا أقبل الله إليه بوجهه, unless Allah also goes to him with his face, with face of Allah. Means Allah would have complete attention to this person. وأقبل بقلوب المؤمنين إليه بالمحبة بعد حب الله إياه. Not only Allah would have complete attention to this person, Allah would take the hearts of mu'minin also towards this person. After Allah loving him, he makes sure that other people also love him. This iqbal of Allah biwajhi is very, very important. And Imam Khomeini says, this is what awliyaullah are looking for. That Allah would remove veils, hujub, for his awliya. And we don't know what blessings would happen after Allah would come with full face to someone and remove the veils. And then Imam Khomeini quotes this famous passage from Munajat al-Sha'baniyah, which was very much loved by Imam Khomeini, and he used to quite often mention this, and even in some of his lectures he used to end always with this: إلهي حبلي كمال الانقطاع إليك وأنر أبصار قلوبنا بضياء نظرها إليك حتى تخرج أبصار القلوب حجب النور فتصل إلى معدن العظمة وتصير أرواحنا معلقة بعز قدسك. In this Munajat Sha'baniyah, which is Munajat of Amir al-Mu'minin and all our Imams, they ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to grant them perfect detachment from anything other than Him, and to enlighten the visions of their hearts with the radiation of looking at Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, so that the visions of the heart would penetrate through all the veils of light and reach the source of grandeur, and our souls would be then dependent on dignity of your holiness. This penetration through all hujub an-nur, veils of light, which are veils that sometimes they themselves might be good. Hujub an-nur sometimes just means veils for light, but Imam Khomeini used to say that these are lights that can, for someone who is aiming at the source of light, can become hijab. For example, knowledge is nur, but if you forget your focus on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, knowledge becomes hijab. Actually, some saying says, al-ilmu huwa al-hijab al-akbar. Many things can become hijab. Many things that by themselves are good, if you are not careful and they become independently important for you, they become hijab. These are hujub al-nuri. This is different from someone who loves, for example, I don't know, money, or loves, I don't know, mischief. No, these are hujub which are from nur, but compared to the absolute light, they are obstacle. In any case, with salat, you can gain this experience of Allah coming to you with full face. Means he would be present for you. He would not keep veils before you and him. And he says, for those who are qualified, those who really appreciate this hadith, this single hadith is enough to spend all their life for achieving the love of Allah and coming of Allah with his face to them. If you spend all your life for this hadith, he says it's worth it. Let me read again that hadith. Imam Sadiq alayhi salam says, La uhibbu lirrajul al-mu'min minkum. I love for a mu'min among you إذا قام في صلاة فريضة, when he stands up for wajib salat, salat al-fajr, zuhr, asr, maghrib, isha, and يقبل بقلبه إلى الله, to go with his heart towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. ولا يشغل قلبه بأمر الدنيا, and do not let his heart be busy with a worldly affair. فليس من عبد يقبل بقلبه في صلاته إلى الله تعالى إلا أقبل الله إليه بوجهه. There is no servant of Allah that goes with his heart in his salah towards Allah except that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala goes towards him with his face. وَأَقْبَلَ بِقُلُوبِ الْمُؤْمِنِينَ إِلَيْهِ بِالْمَحَبَّةِ, and Allah also would take the hearts of mu'minin towards this person with love. Means mu'minin would love this person بعد حب الله إياه, after Allah loves him. It's impossible that Allah loves someone and then hearts of mu'minin would not find some attraction for that person. If someone is loved by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, mu'minin will love that person. Of course, sometimes maybe there is propaganda, sometimes maybe people don't know him, that's another issue. But people who are in touch with someone, people who know someone, they would love him because their heart is connected. And hearts of mu'minin are connected with each other and connected with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If Allah loves, then mu'minin also love someone. Then he quotes two more hadiths in this chapter, which I mentioned quickly, and leave the rest for next session. Sawabul A'mal, again Sheikh Saduq, and he quotes from Imam Sadiq alayhi salam, Man salla rak'atayn ya'lamu ma yaqulu fihima. Someone who says 2 rak'ah prayer and he is aware what he says. So he's mindful, he's meaning what he says. إن صرف وليس بينه وبين الله ذنب إلا غفر له. He would finish salat, he would turn away from salat while there is no sin left for him unless it is forgiven. If you manage to say 2 rak'ah salat properly, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will forgive your sins. Of course, this is for someone who is not insisting on sinning. That's another issue. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam also said to that one was Imam Sadiq, now from Rasulullah, rak'atan khafifatan fi tafakkur khayrun min qiyam al-layla. If someone says 2 rak'ah khafif, means not very long, not taking too much time, but fi tafakkur, with contemplation. So it's not a matter of 1 hour, for example, spending on salat. No, it's a matter of how much you have attention, how much you are contemplative. If you say 2 rakat prayer, but with contemplation, is better than whole night standing up for tahajjud and don't have this understanding what you are saying. What are you talking about? Okay, inshallah, we continue this discussion. Inshallah, next week we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because of all the rights that He has upon us, because of all the love and mercy that He has for His servants, to give us ability to taste the sweetness of salat and make the best moment of our day and night the moments of salat. بحق محمد وآل محمد.